Greeting to Dr. Azhar and fellow friends. So today we would like to do a video presentation for our course, which is Introductory Statistics. The topic that we choose is the relationship between geometry test score SMG3013 and mathematical problem solving skill among 40 UPSI students. Before I start, I would like to introduce our group member. The first one is Agusman bin Abdullah, second one is Brenda Brill, the third one is Farah Fahana binti Muhammad Yusuf, and the last one is Nurul Husna binti Muhammad Roslan. The objective is to determine the level of geometry test score among 40 UPSI students. Second is to assess the mathematical problem-solving skills of 40 UPSI students. The third one is to investigate the relationship between geometry test score and mathematical problem-solving skills. For population and sample, the population includes all UPSI students who have taken SMS3013 geometry. The sample size are 40 students. The gender includes both male and female students. The background for the students are from various programs and semester. The instrument that we used in this study was Google Form Survey. It contains 3 sections, which are demography, mathematical problem-solving skills, mathematics achievement with 11 questions. Other than that, we use Microsoft Excel Statistical Package for Social Science SPSS to analyze the data. For statistical method, based on Objective 1, we use descriptive statistic, and the calculation include mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum score. The purpose is to describe overall students' performance in geometry tests. Next, based on Objective 2, we use descriptive analysis, which is based on Likert scales question from 1 to 5. The calculation include overall mean score and standard deviation. The purpose is to evaluate student problem-solving skill level. Based from Objective 3, we use inferential statistics. The test that we use is Pearson correlation. The purpose is to measure the strength and direction of the relationship. Second one is to determine if the relationship is statistically significant.
In this section, I will present the finding and analysis based on Objective 1 of our study, which is to determine the level of mathematics achievement among these students. From the slide, we can see a histogram showing the distribution of students' scores in the geometry test. The x-axis represents the score range, while the y-axis shows the frequency or number of students. On the right side, we have the descriptive statistics and interpretation of data. A total of 40 students participated in the study, and the minimum score recorded was 0.50, which means the lowest achievement was 50% and the maximum score was 0.95 or 95%. The mean score or average was 0.7445, which equals to 74.45%. This indicates that overall the students demonstrated a moderate to high level of understanding in geometry. The standard deviation was 0.09837 or 9.84%. This shows that the scores were spread out moderately from the mean, meaning there was some variation in students' performance but not too extreme. In conclusion, the findings show that the level of mathematics achievement among these students in geometry is relatively good, with most students scoring above 70%. This result can help educators better understanding students' strengths and weakness, especially in mathematical concepts such as geometry. Thank you.
Next, the second objective is to assess the mathematical problem-solving skills of UPSI students. From the data we had observed, the parameter is n for 40 students. The minimum value is 3.8. The maximum value is 5. The mean value is 4.6025 and the standard deviation is 0.41970. To interpret this data, we can conclude that 40 students were responded to problem-solving skills item using like Likert scale 1 to 5. The minimum score is 3.8, meaning that even the lowest students is still in the medium to high category. The maximum score is 5, which means there are students who show maximum skill levels. The average score or mean value is considered high, whereby the value is 4.6025. The standard deviation is 0.4197, which means the spread of score is quite small, meaning most students are close to average.
Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. In this presentation, I will explain objective 3 of our study, which is to investigate the relationship between the student geometry test score and the mathematical problem solving skill, or MPSS for short. We begin with the hypothesis. The null hypothesis states that there is no significant relationship between a geometry test score and a mathematical problem solving skill. The alternative hypothesis suggests that there is a significant relationship between these two variables. To test this, we use Pearson correlation analysis through SPSS. For the result, we obtain the correlation coefficient R of 0.157 and p-value of 0.334 with a total 40 respondents. Now, let me explain what this means. The correlation value of 0.157 show a very weak positive relationship between a geometry test score and mathematical problem solving skill. This means that students who score higher in a problem solving might also score slightly higher in a geometry, but the relationship is very minimal. However, we score more important here is the p-value, which is 0.334, much higher than our significant level of 0.05. Because of this, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. We also calculate the t-statistic, which come out of 0.98, comparing to the critical value of 2.024 at 33 degrees of freedom. Our t-value is still too small to support the conclusion that the relationship is not statistically significant. So, in summary, even though there is a slightly positive correlation between mathematical problem solving skill and geometry score, the relationship is not strong enough to be considered statistically significant. Because of that, we decide the linear regression analysis was not appropriate for this data. Bismillah. To conclude this study, aim to examine three key aspects: the level of mathematical achievement among UPST students, their mathematical problem-solving skill, and the relationship between the two. The results show that the students perform well in both areas. The average geometry test score was 74.45% and the problem-solving skill averaged 4.6 out of 5 on a Likert scale. This indicates that UPSI students are generally strong in both mathematics and problem solving. However, the correlation analysis revealed the weak and non-significant relationship between the two variables, with R 0.157 and P 0.334. In other words, having a strong problem solving skill did not necessarily predict a better performance in the geometry test. Therefore, while students did well individually, no significant connection between the two was found. Further study with a large sample and a broader method are recommended to explore this relationship more deeply.